Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, it would certainly be appreciated. Being the United Kingdom's flag carrier comes with responsibility, and it must, whether that be in offering the highest service possible, a solid route network, and also an efficient and modern fleet. British Airways is a carrier that is certainly esteemed in history, and its fleet has changed drastically through the years to reflect the changes seen at the airline and also the broader industry, whether related in changes to its network, advancements in demand, or the need to replace existing planes with new bits of tech. Either way, their fleet has amassed hundreds of units and can now be seen globally. So with over 200 aircraft in service and a fleet averaging an age of some 13.3 years, what does the British Airways fleet look like towards the back end of 2023? How will this change in the coming years, and notably what aircraft types have gone missing in recent history? Let's begin with their most crucial fleet type, if you will, when measured by active units, and that's unsurprisingly the Airbus A320ceo, with a total of 75 operational aircraft. This represents 31% of their fleet. Narrow-body aircraft always play a very significant role in companies' operations. While British Airways is, yes, a global airline, that does also include critical European services operated with these narrow-bodies. Sticking with them and moving even smaller than the A320, the airline does operate a fleet of A319s, with 27 active units amounting to 11% of their in-service fleet. These Airbus A319s are the second oldest aircraft type when we're measuring it by average age. They sit at 21.1 years. Interestingly, the following three types regarding being the oldest are actually all from the A320 family, with the 321 and 320 following. Let's move on to the final member of the A320ceo family in the British Airways fleet, that is the A321, which actually only has 3 in-service planes remaining. These planes will soon be a thing of the past, and in comparison to the A319 and A320, they're currently the least used. But with an old fleet comes the need for new planes, and that is more than visible through the airline's most recent deliveries. It currently has an active fleet of 20 Airbus A320neos, which average an age of only 3.6 years, making them one of the newest fleet types around. The A321neo is next on the list with 10 operational units. These are pretty young too, with the mean sitting at a very respectable 4.2 years. The airline doesn't fly any Boeing narrow-bodies, so let's move up to some of the larger aircraft in the fleet. And seeming I have discussed Airbus pretty extensively already, I do want to move over to Boeing. The carrier is a pretty fun one when it comes to wide-body aircraft, as it does fly every variant of the 787 Dreamliner, so that includes the Dash 8, the Dash 9, and finally the Dash 10. Each of these variants gives the airline opportunities to enhance its global operations. Its largest 787 family aircraft, when based actually on active units, is the 787-9, which has a total of 18. This is followed by 12 of your 787-8s, and then 7 of the largest 787-10s. The Dreamliner has been hugely important in improving the carrier's efficiency, and also you could argue operational reliability. Some would say too, and despite the issues with the program, British Airways has definitely enjoyed the availability and flexibility the series has given them, even though the program has definitely had its fair share of issues over, say, the last 5 years. That being said, the 787 is an aircraft seen right around the globe that airlines do rely on for their long-haul services. British Airways still flies the 777 series, although it's the Dash 200ER that is aging considerably. This variant, when measured by average age, is the oldest in the entire fleet at 23.5 years, and currently there are 43 of these operational, which really highlights the need to look towards phasing these out with time. Next on the list is 16 of your 777-300ERs, which are, yes, much younger. They average only around a decade, highlighting the major difference between the two. For British Airways though, the next era well and truly arrives with Airbus widebodies. Notably in its operations is the A350-1000, where 16 units are currently in service. These A350-1000s too only have an average age of 2.3 years. It makes them the second youngest fleet type that they have taken delivery of thus far. The airline's largest aircraft type in terms of capacity and also size is the Airbus A380. Currently, it has 12 of these in service, and funnily enough, even though this only includes 12 units, British Airways is actually one of now the largest operators following the global pandemic. No, they're never going to reach the heights of, say, Emirates with close to 100 units in active service, but the reality is no one will be able to do that. So the competition in regards to who has the most Airbus A380s is really highlighted. If you have over 10 units, you're doing pretty well for yourself. It has always really notably voiced its support over the Airbus aircraft and has vastly enjoyed operations with it. Even at one point in time, there being discussions of how the airline could acquire more at a cheap price, although that never eventuated. While the A380 yes does operate, one figure that is notably missing and one I really did want to mention in this video is another quad-engine plane, the Boeing 747. The 747s were always slated to be retired, however time on the jet was cut significantly short when the airline decided to pull the aircraft from service during the early stages of the pandemic, ending their multi-decade reign within the fleet. It was sad not just for the airline to be saying goodbye to a valuable piece of history, but also enthusiasts who in most cases feel they were largely robbed of a chance to say goodbye thanks to the immediate retirement. However, the same could be said for multiple other aircraft types industry-wide during that time period. Looking ahead though, the future is certainly exciting for those eager followers of British Airways. Among many more next-generation aircraft slated to arrive from the aforementioned series that are already within their operations, soon they'll fly the upcoming Boeing 777X. This is Boeing's newest widebody that currently remains uncertified and what many would describe, at least for British Airways, as their ideal replacement to the 747. While initially slated to arrive sometime in 2020, delays have pushed the expected entry into service date for this aircraft back on numerous occasions. While Boeing is currently citing a 2025 entry into service, British Airways came out last year and said they were very hopeful of a delivery from likely 2026 onwards, and this follows persistent delays. It does have actually options included in a deal for this aircraft from the International Airlines Group, the ones that oversee British Airways, so this means if all those options were hypothetically activated, it could one day fly close to 50 total units for the 777X series. But for now, it's a much more respectable total of just under 20. And when it comes to those options that are available, demand levels and also performance with the plane will no doubt play a major role in determining the future for the series within the airline. That's going to conclude today's video, taking a look at the British Airways fleet and the changes we've seen through the years. Notable mentions can include the 767 series that also was retired, among a few others, but I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. What is your favourite aircraft type that does operate with British Airways? And looking into the future, are you excited for them to welcome the 777X? Where do you maybe want to see it deployed? And do you believe those options should be activated to assist them with future fleet growth and also replacement? Noting that they do have a number of 777s that are aging and do need replacing. Thank you very much for tuning into this video. Do take care and be safe, and I'll see you next time.
And we'll fly.